Hey guys, what happened to happiness? Now, unless you're asleep or you've been asleep for a long time, then you realize that most people are not very happy. Very few people are extremely fulfilled. Most people have no sense of purpose and direction in life. Now, we're going to talk a lot about that in just a moment, but while we're waiting for Facebook to do its thing and for people to come in the room, make sure you say hello when you come into the room. While we're waiting, though, and before we dive in, let me just say a couple of things. Number one, if you're not yet following me on YouTube, please follow. It's James Arthur Ray. It's free, obviously, and we have over 200 YouTube videos in my YouTube channel on everything from happiness and fulfillment to, hey, Nancy, happiness and fulfillment. Hey, Laura, you and I are going to be doing some good work together, and how to improve your finances, how to improve your relationships, how to have a greater spiritual connection, how to have more energy, how to live to be 100 or more. That's a real popular one right now on my YouTube channel, James Arthur Ray. Follow me on YouTube. Number two, if this video impacts you in a positive way, then just do yourself a favor and do a favor to those that you love and care about, and just hit that share button. It's really, really easy. Just hit the share button right down here and help me, help you, help those that you love and care about. Did you get that? So just share this if this makes a positive impact on your life. So now, hey Lulu, thanks for being here. Let's get back into happiness. What happened to happiness? Because the most recent research by Gallup tells us that 72% of the people surveyed are unhappy. They're unhappy. They're disengaged, and they're totally unfulfilled in their life and their work. 72%, that's nearly 3/4 of the entire population. Now, there's two major reasons for depression in this world. A lot of people are depressed. I'll talk more about that in just a moment. But the two major reasons that research has proven drives depression are, number one, lack of meaningful work. Remember, 3/4 of the people are unhappy in their work. Lack of meaningful work. And number two is loneliness. The major causes of depression. Now, why is depression important? Because in the U.S. alone, and this is pre-COVID cult circus numbers, 16.2 million people in the U.S. alone are diagnosed as clinically depressed, and most of them are on antidepressant medication. 16.2 million people. Now, stick with me here. 3/4 of the population are unhappy, disengaged, and unfulfilled in their daily life and work. 16.2 million people are depressed. Have you ever felt depressed? Have you felt depression in 2020? Well, let me tell you something. Depression is an effect, and it's an effect of something being suppressed. I'll talk more about that a little bit later. But let me give you another statistic. According to Gallup, 43% of the people surveyed are, quote, too exhausted to perform in their daily work. How many times do you wake up in the morning and you're just tired? You slept 8 hours, 9 hours, 6 hours, whatever it is, it doesn't matter, and you're still tired. You're not inspired. Have you ever felt that way? How many days do you drag your tired butt out of bed and you go to a job or a business that you literally don't enjoy? Maybe you even hate it. Well, you're part of the 3/4 of the population, 72%. And I think that number is actually higher. I believe those are only the people who are honest. I think there's a lot of people, a lot more than that, and they just weren't honest in the survey. But how many times have you dragged your tired butt to your office or to your job and you just feel like you can't make it through the day? Well, 43% of the people surveyed say that's what they experience every single day. Now, there's a whole lot of reasons for this. But let me just tell you, one of them is that you have been driven from the time you were small by economic indicators, and you've put economy over ecology. Now, we think that ecology is having to do with the environment, and it does. It certainly does. But if you look it up and you understand the term ecology, ecology is really the harmony and the interrelationship of every single aspect of your life. Your business, your body, your relationships, your bank account. That's ecology, having all those things in harmony: financial, relational, mental, physical, spiritual, in harmony. That's ecology. But what have we done? We have put economy over ecology. Does that make sense to you? Now, it's not your fault, but it is your responsibility, because you have been conditioned from the time you were born by mommy and daddy that these things are valuable and those things are not valuable. That these things are right and those things are wrong. You've been conditioned that you should pursue this and not that. And then you get into the traditional school system. And the traditional school system doesn't talk anything about ecology. It doesn't have you explore your values. It doesn't have you help you develop self-awareness. What does it do? It tells you to follow the money. It tells you to follow the market. Go where the jobs are. And then you get into traditional religious institutions, and they don't want you to think for yourself. No traditional religious institution has taught you to think for yourself. What they want you to do is just what the school systems want you to do. They want you to read, remember, and repeat, and just follow the rules and do it because I said so, and to have faith. And so then you show up, in your 30s, 40s, 50s, or 60s, whatever, and you're like, oh my God, is this what life is meant to be? I've chased the brass ring, and I even maybe got the brass ring. But let me tell you something. If 2020 has taught you anything, it should have taught you that the brass ring can be yanked out of your hands in a nanosecond. It should have taught you that all the things you pursued will not save you. Are you with me on this? And so we have to do something different. You have to do something different. Actually, you don't have to. But if you want to live a meaningful life, you do. Because what most of us have done is we replaced money for meaning. And we think that money is going to bring us meaning. Let me promise you it's not. Let me promise you it's not. I've made multiple millions of dollars in my life, and I promise you it didn't make my life any more meaningful, and it didn't make my life any more happy, and certainly not more fulfilled. In many cases, if not most cases, more money makes you more miserable. Because the more money you have and the bigger your business becomes, the more responsibility you have and the more things you have to be concerned about and the more things you have to deal with on a regular basis. Does that make sense to you? You're not going to hear this message in a lot of places. But I hope you're listening. Because the vast majority have grounded themselves in economy and money. And again, if 2020 has taught you anything, it should have taught you those things can change in a heartbeat. I learned that in 2009, where my multi-million-dollar net worth went to zero in a matter of about 60 days. And what that means is if anything can be taken away from you, it's not real. Are you paying attention to what's going on in the world? Anything that can be taken away from you is not real. Your liberty and ability to come and go and do as you please, as you've been told you have, is obviously not real because it was taken away from you in a matter of about 30 days, 45 days, not out of force, but out of fear. You gave it up. So it's time to wake up. Are you getting this? Are you with me on this? I was coaching a young man recently who was doing very well financially. And he was making multiple six figures a year. And he was telling me, hey, I've made all this money and I just don't feel like my life is fulfilled. I'm not that happy. No kidding. And I said to him, well, just imagine for a moment, just suppose for a moment you could wake up every single day and you could do absolutely the one thing that you love. And you could be stoked about waking up and you could be excited about getting up and you could get after it and you could do what you love every single day. He goes, yeah, I'd like to do that. I said, if you had to cut your paycheck in half to do that, would you do it? Long pause. He said, no, James, I don't think I could do that. I said, okay, so then what you're telling me is that you value money more than you value your own happiness and fulfillment. He said, well, I never really thought about that, but I have obligations. I said, okay, we all have obligations. As you think about it now, aren't you telling me that you value money and you value your car and your house payment and your accoutrements and your toys and your trips and all that? You value that way more than you value your own happiness and fulfillment. You'd much rather have all those toys than have happiness and fulfillment. He goes, well, again, I've never really thought about it that way. And as you think about it now, isn't that what you're telling me? And he goes, yeah. I said, so what are you going to do about it? He goes, well, I just don't think I'm willing to make that change. Okay. Because you see, most of us never ever make significant change in our life until we experience enough pain. And this young man had not yet experienced enough pain. When we experience enough pain till we get to the point of enough already, then we'll do whatever it takes to make that change. Have you experienced enough pain in 2020? Some people have, some people haven't. Where are you putting your energy and emphasis and your money? You know, you might be one of those that believe if Joe Biden gets into office, and I don't care, I know we have people from India here and all over the world, but we live in a world economy right now, and I think you'd agree with me on that. Everything affects everything. If Joe Biden gets into office, everything's going to be back to normal. 2021 is going to be smooth sailing. We're going to get on with things. No. And then there's other people who believe, well, if Trump overturns this and Trump gets back into the office, that everything's going to be smooth sailing, we'll get on with things. No, let me promise you this. Mark this on the screen of your mind and prove me wrong. I hope I'm wrong, but I don't think I am. It's going to get worse before it gets better. And you've got to develop resilience. You have to develop self-awareness. You have to develop the strength and the courage and the ability to weather the storm, because most people are folding right now. 16.2 million people. And by the way, those are pre-COVID numbers, are depressed. You think those numbers are higher now? You know they are. And you've got to weather the storm, because let me promise you this. Your life is not driven. Your business is not driven from the outside in. Your business is driven. Your life is driven from the inside out. Your relationships are not driven from the outside in. You're not going to find the perfect mate and all is going to be smooth sailing. I have the most amazing wife in the entire world, the most amazing woman on the planet. And you might disagree with me, and that's okay, because if you have someone in your life, you should disagree with me. But that's my experience, and that doesn't mean that everything's smooth sailing. You've got to have the internal fortitude. You've got to have the internal power and ability, call it self-awareness, to weather the storm. And the storm is going to get worse before it gets better. It has to get messy before it gets magnificent. We're in the mess right now. Did you get that? It has to get messy before it gets magnificent. We're in the mess right now. The mess is tough. And if you don't have the strength, and you don't have the ability, and you don't have the fortitude and the resilience and the resourcefulness to get through a storm, continued storm, 2020, oh my God, James, it's been in a storm for the whole year. Yeah, I'm in it with you. I'm in the eye of the needle, just like you are, and it's not going to end in the near future. So what are you going to do about it? Let me give you my advocacy. You have to make happiness and fulfillment your center. You have to make meaning and purpose your center. And when you come from your center, your heart, then it doesn't matter what's going on outside here. It doesn't mean it'll be easy. It's not supposed to be easy. But you'll be grounded, and you'll be in your center. And you're at the helm of your life. You need to stop looking for leaders and choose to become a leader yourself. Be the leader that the world is looking for, that comes from the center, the meaning, the purpose, that comes from happiness and fulfillment, job number one. And that only comes through self-awareness, because unless you can tell me who you are, you can't tell me what you want. Unless you can tell me who you are, you can't tell me what you value. Unless you can tell me who you are, and you're not, let me give you a hint here. You're not your job, you're not your position, you're not your relationship, you're not any of those things. Those are experiences that you're having. Who are you? Really? If you can't answer that question, then you don't have a high degree of self-awareness. Any answer you give me, I'm a mom or a dad or a husband or a wife or an entrepreneur, no, that's not who you are. Those are things that you do. Self-awareness is job number one. Who are you really? If you can't answer that question, until you can answer that question, you can't tell me what you want. Because anything you tell me that you want is a regurgitation of your programming, of what you've been conditioned to believe is valuable, instead of choosing your own values. I hope this makes sense to you. It's time. It's time to take your power back, because you've given it away to a system that doesn't care about you. You've given it away to a government that doesn't care about you. You've given it away to a religious institutions that don't really care about you. You've given it away to school systems that don't care about you. You've given it away. It's time to take it back. And if 2020 has taught you anything, hopefully it's taught you this one thing, that you have to become more self-aware. You have to make your own happiness and fulfillment job number one. Because no matter how much money you make, no matter how big your business can be, it can be taken away like that. You know, we have a restaurant that we go to for good Italian food. They're shutting down. Highly successful restaurant in Las Vegas. We went there on Saturday night, Bersabeh and I, and they said, hey, this is our last night. We're going to be open. We're shutting down. It's really sad. And this is happening all over the world. Well, I really hope that the owner of that restaurant has made happiness and fulfillment his lifeblood, has made happiness and fulfillment and purpose and meaning his center, his heart. Because to the degree that you're wrapped up in your job or your position or your title or your bank account or your relationship or any of those things, you set yourself up for crises. Look, I could go forever here, and I know you've got other things to do, and so do I. So I'm going to get out of here. But listen, if this makes an impact, a positive impact on your life, then please share this video. And number two, let me help you. Let me help you, because everybody and their dog in today's world is so-called coach. Well, unfortunately, and with all due respect, most coaches are textbook coaches. They've gone through a certification, they've read some books, and they're operating not from experience, but from information. Who better to help you weather the storm and go through a tsunami than someone who's been there? Who better to help you to get back up and keep charging forward than someone who's been knocked down and knocked down hard and refuses to quit? Let us help you. My wife Bersabeh and I have an opportunity that is off the hook called Project Stay Home. And we meet every single Thursday night via Zoom with people all around the world. So it doesn't matter if you're in India or Asia or wherever you are. People from all around the world are in Project Stay Home. These are growth-minded individuals, people who want to take their power back, people who are part of a community. Remember, we said loneliness is one of the causes of depression and lack of meaningful work. We'll plug you into a community, and we get together live via Zoom every Thursday night. And if you miss a live session, not to worry, because we record every single one of them. And we put them into a database that you have full-on access to 24/7 as long as you're a member. 4 times a month, every Thursday night, 4 times a month, you get live coaching from me and Bersabeh every single week. And here's the great news. Now through the end of the year, the investment is only $13.97. It's probably going to go up in 2021 because the cost of doing business is raising. But all of the early adopters, like Danielle is a member, and I saw Ruby here is a member, and there's some other people. All the people who are already members are going to get grandfathered. When the rates go up, the investment goes up, they're going to get grandfathered in, and they're going to stay where they are because they were early adopters and they jumped on. So you've got right now to make a decision. $13.97. That's the same investment you make on Netflix or HBO. So come join us. Just click the link above my head. It takes you to the website, jamesarthurray.com. You're going to click store, And the first thing that comes up in the store is Project Stay Home. Come join us. You'll be grateful when you do. God bless you. Lots of love to you. And let me just end with this. Your happiness and your fulfillment, your meaning, your purpose, yours, not what the world tells you, but what you want is what your life is all about. Let us help you. God bless. Lots of love.